I have something that's a little bit different that I'm going to do. I'm not going to actually do an installation kit, as more of just finding out what my results are. What I have is I have the Girsan MC21, which is Girsan's copy of the 92 Beretta. It is clear, nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine well, empty magazine. Actually, I don't even need the magazine as far as that goes for what I'm going to show you. It is a little bit different in the slide compared to the 92 that Beretta had. This one does have some relief cuts and it does have a full slide. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to install, because it is a Beretta 92 clone, MCARBO's 92 spring kit. It is for the Beretta 92 FS, M9, 92, and the 96. It's their Pro Trigger kit. It does come with different hammer springs, sear springs, guide rod springs, all the internal springs that are in there. As far as the trigger weight base that I'm going to start with, like I said, I did show that it's clear and unloaded. Doing it in single action, I'm getting 14.5. I'll do a couple just so we don't have one that's super high and one that's super low. 5.2. 5.1. 5.3. 4.12. So anywhere from 3.6 to 412.5 on our 5-pull average. I am going to do one also from a double pull. It is going to be higher. It's right around my 12 gauge limit that 12 pound limit that I have on my gauge. So we'll see how it works, but we'll get a baseline anyway. So 11.17. That's 10.15. 10.5. 10.8. 10.4. So on a 10 pull average, single action, the lowest I got was 4.125, and on the double action, the highest I got was 11 pounds, 1.7 ounces. Now we'll see what happens after I put in the springs. Okay, I wanted to come back here for just a second to talk about, I stripped the slide, and these are the components from the Girsan. The one big difference between the Beretta and the Girsan that I found out is on the safety, there's only one pin that holds it on, that you got to punch out, versus the two on the Beretta that they show on the MCARBO installation video. The other thing I noticed is on the extractor, the Beretta has a red mark on it, where the one on the Girsan doesn't have any indications on it. The other thing that I noticed was this coming out seemed a little more challenging than what MCARBO was showing, but I suppose that's a difference between me taking it apart for the first time and them doing it a few hundreds of times. Other than that, I do have all my springs from the MCARBO kit that I have separated, and this one is the striker spring, and the one on the left is going to be the new MCARBO one. This one is the one that I think is going to be a little interesting. I'm not real sure if I'm going to be able to change. That is the extractor spring from the original, and this is the extractor spring from the MCARBO kit, and those two springs look totally different. But I will try it, and I will find out, I guess, when I get to that step. Okay, after reviewing some of the parts and looking at the sizes, I'm decided I'm not going to put the MCARBO spring kits in for a few different reasons. I kind of just talked about some of the springs looking different. There's quite a few that are different that I don't think it's going to work. Looking at this is the firing pin spring, and it is measuring, try not to do it compressed, it's about 16.7 millimeters. When I look at the MCARBO spring, which is in this cup over here, it is quite a bit longer than that. Maybe it'd be easier to do it this way. When I'm sitting there putting them side by side, I'll try to use something flat. Of course, they want to roll away on me and not cooperate. But you can see the MCARBO one is quite a bit longer than the one that came out. Almost a whole coil longer. Spring-wise, compressing them, the one that's in there actually feels lighter than the one from MCARBO. I know that's kind of a perception thing, but definitely the length, maybe this will work. There's the MCARBO one that's in the caliper. The MCARBO one is in the caliper, and you can see the factory one will pass right through. So obviously quite a difference in length. So I'm going to go back to the factory one and not put in the MCARBO one. The other thing, and I mentioned this earlier, is the MCARBO one is about 0.39. The factory one in the Girsan is 0.3. So there's no way that the one will fit in that hole. So I'm not using that. The other thing is the guide rod spring. And I'm not going to put the MCARBO one in that one either, because the guide rod spring that came out of the Girsan measures 112.8. as far as the length goes. And that's not really compressed. Like I said, that was the original one. The MCARBO one is a lot longer. A lot longer. Like, I couldn't even get it in a lot longer. It is 132.7. It's almost 20 millimeters longer. Just looking at it, there's no way that this spring's going to go in. So I'm going to stop trying to install the MCARBO kit at this point and basically just reassemble the top and go from there, and we'll see what the base looks like when I get to that point.